We'll start with the game.
Yeah.
I don't really know where to go other than, I mean, to me, Smart misses the game, which necessitated moving a starter into the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, moving someone into the starting lineup, and there was a lot of debate over what it would be. It ended up being Rob, and it was okay. It was
It
okay.
was mixed. Now, you
Yeah.
know what? I like that it started off well because that made me feel that if and when Rob does ever get to the point where he can last over 20 minutes and be fully functioning, it will look nice. It will play well. The team looks like they can. Uh, when Rob's in the game, good things happen. But when he's winded and when it's like the fourth quarter or the second half, and it looks like maybe his conditioning isn't quite there yet, or he's a little bit out of sorts or a step behind, that's when it's like, all right, what the hell's going on here? What's wrong? You're just crossing your fingers that he's not looking that way because he's dealing with some sort of pain. You kind of do actually hope that it is just, man, this guy's just taking a little bit maybe longer than we all want for him to get back into game shape, or he's still a little bit hesitant. Maybe it's mental. Those are what you have to hope it is, because if it's something that's physically preventing him from, being the Rob that we know and love, then that would be a cause for concern. But I was happy that they went to him in the starting lineup. I think we've been calling for it for a bit now. I don't want to say that the Garden Report bullied them into doing it, but the Garden Report may have bullied them into doing it.
The Garden Report and possibly Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Yeah, they had some. Yeah, in them, I guess maybe they have a little bit of say too.
Yeah.
But they kind of were. Yeah, it kind of felt like their comments were like, yeah, there's no minutes restriction on them. We love to play with them. So I was happy to see it. Again, and John, like we have to say, the Bulls always give the Celtics fits. They gave them fits tonight. I mean, I actually had a chance to take the lead there in the last minute or two, which really would have been something. But yeah, that was funny how Grant
People
held on.
loving this. People loving this moment, huh?
We should talk about that because I was staring. I think everyone noticed it. Jalen Brown was wide open at the almost at the
He's like,
logo.
you've shot enough today. You've done
Grant
enough
just
today.
Grant almost took a double team over not passing it to him. Basically, is what he
Yeah,
did.
you've done enough,
Um,
Jalen.
But the Celtics pulled this one off against a team that gives them trouble. Yes, DeRozan didn't really. What was it? The whole second half, or at least a good portion of it. He got hurt. Unfortunately, hopefully it's not too serious for their sake. But Levine did his thing, and the Celtics pulled it off in the end. Grant came up big for them. We just mentioned Grant, but 20 points tonight. They needed all the help they could get. With Brown not having a great game.
JB's in
Marcus
timeout.
doing his thing on the sideline. So
It's funny. It's like, everyone's like, every time I start one of these shows, I'm like, am I gonna start a win by going in on Jaylen Brown? I'm like, I can't do it. If I do it, everyone's gonna jump down my throat. The chat's doing it for me. And this is another good one too. Jalen switched off of Levine without any stress at all. He was just like, I'm done with him. It wasn't even like a pick. He's
weren't
like,
we just talking about how he wants the matchup? He wants to be the guy that's going to take on the other team's guy. I feel like we just either had that conversation or
he's
heard
like,
them
someone else guard
discuss
him.
it.
Oh, it was so bad, man. He just didn't have the energy for it tonight. This was one of his there's the ADD Jalen games, and then there's somebody has taken over his brain games. And like tonight, the shot selection was unbelievable all night long.
What did he finish with, anyways?
I was like 5 of 21 or something from the field.
Damn. Really? No,
I don't
7 of
know.
21. 7 of 21. Still,
Okay.
that's 33%. But 0 of 8 from 3. Not ideal.
But
Typically
of
not
them
what you want.
jacking threes with people right in his shirt. Almost all of his shots. He's a great contested shot guy, but there's a difference between just shooting with somebody all over you or dribbling, getting to your spot,
Right.
rising up, making them try to meet you, being a good athlete, being someone who knew what you were planning on doing. A lot of this stuff was just like dribble, and just jump up and shoot regardless of where people were. Really weird shots all game long for him. Definitely a rough night.
Yeah. I mean,
all
historically
around.
speaking, you want to hit one of those shots. Just like statistically speaking and historically speaking. It's never been like a good thing to go over 8 from 3. So that's something that you'll learn.
There's
the hard way.
contested mid-range, and then there's what he did tonight, which I thought was on a
I know.
different level.
Well, I think he has, obviously he has the green light from, the coaching staff, and I'm sure his teammates are fine with him taking shots, but at some point you got to play smart too. You know, like you can't. There's forcing it, and then there's really forcing it. And shooters shoot their way out of slumps.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was some really egregious, decision making and shot selection, and that, to be completely honest, is got to be the reason why Grant didn't give him the ball there. They're just like, yeah, Tatum's actually playing well right now, hitting shots, and you cannot be trusted right now. You simply cannot be trusted.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Weird game. It was like weird, like it's a hard game to put your finger on. There wasn't a great flow to it.
They were up double digits, and they were kind of, it was like Bulls would claw back, and they would pull ahead, and the Bulls would claw. It was like that's what the Bulls do. But...
Yeah, ball got a little sticky there late. I would agree with that. And also, you're gonna play that. I mean, there's nights where, it wasn't a low assist game for them. They ended up with 25. But this was Tatum's game. It was so obviously Tatum's game early. If you're going to let somebody just friggin' fire away, that's what Tatum had going pretty much all night. And he saw the court really well. He was making really good reads most of the night. He had 27 points like 3 minutes into the third quarter. He only finished with 32. So really not much was going for him late. It was
if you're just looking at this, and if you didn't watch the game, you wouldn't think that he played that much better because the stats aren't. I mean, he went 10 of 21 from the field. So, but he did hit, I think it was 3 or 4 threes or something like that. But what did he hit? Did I make that up? 4 threes. But he took 11. These guys are just jacking them, man. I mean, that's just the way this team plays.
Just jacking them right now.
It's the way they play. It's the way they've played all season. It's the way they're going to play all season. Like that isn't going to change. So, if that drives you crazy, then I mean, just get ready to be driven crazy. They're going to win that way, and they're going to lose that way. Tonight they shot just well enough.
Yeah.
It certainly wasn't a game. Who did they just really play well against? A couple of the games ago.
What?
Who did they just beat?
The Celtics?
Yeah.
I mean, they just squeaked past the Spurs. Their really good game was the Mavericks.
Oh, Mavericks. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one. I mean, that felt like a game where they really brought it.
Totally.
On both ends, they've won the game since, so we're not going to sit here and criticize.
They're three straight. Three straight, but I mean the Spurs win was gross and infuriating.
I missed most of that.
This one was a mixed bag, and that's fine. But whatever. Jalen struggles aside, Tatum was the man. Tatum. There's two stories I think that are. I mean, there's. Maybe 3 heroes on the night. Tatum was great. Grant, you get Grant's 1 in 10, pay me $20 million game. That was tonight. And he was great tonight.
Point for every million.
Once every 6 or 7 games, Grant has one of these games, and it's like, give him $20 million, and then he scores 0 points or 2 points, and everyone's like.
This was a big game for the Grant Williams $20 million highlight reel that will be circling around the NBA in a few months from the agent. This one will go down there 8 of 15, 3 threes.
It was awesome. He drove the basket. He got rebounds, got a block. He was great. I mean, he was great.
Yeah, he was. It's like,
and he played a ton.
Do that all the time, and you'll get $20 million a year. It's that simple.
So he played a ton. I think one reason he played a ton, I think the rotations got screwed up because White got 2 early fouls. He played 4 minutes. He didn't see him again until late in that second half. Everything got a little wonky after that. Rob Williams was basically on hockey shifts all night. He's playing 4 minutes at a time and coming off. He was like going over the boards and coming off. He was literally these short stints.
I can't figure it out. Can anybody?
Well, so let's get into it a little bit. I was going to wait for these guys to get in here because they were in on the interviews, but there's definitely a couple things that are worth talking about.
We'll circle back to it when they come on.
We'll circle back to them. I'm going to play one of them. Here was Joe Mazzulla. Okay, so a couple things that happened. Well, let's start with this. Let's start with Tatum and Brown.
Let's start with this.
No. Because, I mean, look, we talked about
what happened.
It's very interesting what happened with Rob. Just here's what Jaylen Brown. I mean, you know us on the Garden Report. Rob, play Rob.
What did you do?
You lose. I just knocked my mic out.
I
knocked my mic out for a second.
Easy. Just take a breath.
So obviously we want, a lot of the fans want, the chat wants, the American people want to see Grant Williams start, but Joe Mazzulla was
Rob Williams.
steadfast.
Let's not confuse the two.
Rob Williams, sorry.
you said-
So Jaylen Brown post game after
don't
San
confuse the two.
Antonio, and I mean Jason Tatum post game San Antonio. Jaylen Brown before today's game and shoot around had these things to say about Rob.
Whether he starts or comes off the bench, just want him on the floor, want him healthy, want to be on the floor with him at the same time as much as possible. So I'm going to start. So I would, like Rob to start, but, whatever's best for the team, he'll do that.
Yeah, we need Rob. Rob is amazing. Rob has a special ability on offense and defense, as we've been able to see even a little bit this year, but especially last year. So the more we integrate him and use him, I think the better our team will be.
So, question. Did those guys bully Joe into starting, Rob? You got your two best players going out publicly basically saying, yeah, we got to play Rob a lot more. You got Tatum saying in that last game, that he was on a minutes restrict. Like he was like, Rob came to the bench. I'm like, are you on a minutes restriction or something? And he's like, nah. And he's like, get back out there, dude.
Yeah.
So those guys are kind of pressuring Joe. I don't know that that's going to happen, but when the Stars want something, you got to wonder what's going on.